Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and today's video is going to be a life update. And yes, I am wearing my hair natural. I just did some co-wash, and this is mabanzi in my Zimbabwean language. Special shout out to all Zimbabweans who watch these videos. If you are Zimbabwean, let me know which part of Zimbabwe you come from right in the comment section below. Let's start this video. So just to start off this video, I just wanted to start this video with so much gratitude. I am deeply grateful to God for my journey and my process, and I want to share a little bit of that journey with you in this video so that somebody who's watching could also be encouraged. But I'm so grateful for the place where I'm at right now. I still believe that it's still transition, that God is taking me somewhere, but I'm just so grateful for the place where I'm at right now. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to God. One of the biggest reasons why I'm so grateful, and this is something that I constantly encourage myself and remind myself of every single time, and sometimes I forget, a lot of times I forget, is that I came into this country, South Africa, for school. At first, I did not see myself staying after school. I intended to go back home. I intended to get a job back home. I intended to just finish off home. And I had a lot of friends, weirdly enough, that wanted to stay in South Africa, and many of them ended up going back home. But I intended to go back home. I was the girl that just said, I'm going back home. But soon after I finished my undergraduate, the Lord spoke to me, and the Lord confirmed it with other people that are very close to me and who are voices in my personal journey, that He had started something in me and that He was at work in my life, and that if I went home at that point, I was going to abort the destiny that God had intended over my journey, and I had to stay in South Africa because He was still nurturing the seed that He had planted in my life. So it wasn't something that I wanted, staying, but I stayed out of obedience. And it's taken such a long journey for me to start finally reaping the fruits of being obedient to that word. And this could be an encouragement to somebody who God has given a word, and you have been walking and working out that word for a number of years now, but you don't see the fruit of it. In fact, it's loss after loss. It's a life of struggle. It's a life of pain. Sometimes it's a life of little. Sometimes it's a life of living beneath what you know is possible with the potential that God has placed over your life. This is a word for someone. If you know that you have been on that journey, I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to be faithful to that process. I want to encourage you to be faithful to that journey, because at some point in time, I promise you, it will start to bear fruit. And I almost feel like this is finally that budding moment where God is finally beginning to allow me to enjoy the fruit of that obedience. So just to give you context and to give you specifics of what I'm talking about, here's my story. I shared a little bit about this, but I came to South Africa for my undergrad, and 4 years I did my undergrad, and when I finished, I felt the Lord impressing upon my heart to stay in South Africa. So I stayed, I got a job, worked there for about 6 months, I think. I was still very immature, an immature professional. I didn't know what it meant to work with different personalities, to work with different people, different environments, different temperaments, and the like. And one of these good days, my boss was a tough boss. Like this video if you have a tough boss. Like this video if you have a tough boss, darling. So my boss was one of those bosses, and one of these good days, he said something incredibly racially offensive to me, and I immediately quit my job. Something that I am never going to do ever again. Girl, you need to learn how to stick it up in corporate. You have to stick it through and learn and get the most out of whatever opportunity that you are granted as work. So here I am, I'm jobless, and I had started to apply for a master's degree, but in my head I was just kind of, it was like a second option at the back of my mind. So I was focusing on the job, and I told myself if the job doesn't work, I still have a clutch. But the master's degree ended up being the first option after I actually left this job and I started focusing on a master's degree that I never really intended to go for. Something that I still up until this day do not regret, because that master's degree has opened up so many opportunities for me and I know that it was God's plan. So I went on to do my master's degree. I would work. There was a year when I worked. While I was doing my master's degree, I did a lot of different pro bono jobs, which means that I basically was working, but I wasn't getting paid, but I was working on my CV and my work experience. But that's beyond what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about today the places that I've been through with regards to where I'm staying, because today is kind of like the first time that I'm doing a video in my new apartment. So the teacher show started at school while I was in the season of confusion, and actually I was depressed. I didn't know what I was doing with my master's degree at some point. And if you have done your postgraduate degree, you know for a fact that there is that point in time when you have no clue what you're doing. Like you feel so dumb, you feel so unworthy to be doing what you're doing, and you feel like this thing is never going to get cracked and I'm not going to get around this. Straight to you, my sister. Straight to you, my brother. Been there before. It's a difficult place. But listen, God will always take us through those journeys, and He is so faithful. You will get past it. And I just declare right now that you're going to finish your degree, whatever you're doing, you are going to finish it. Your course, you're going to finish it in the name of Jesus Christ. We pray as well on this channel, darling. Like, what do we not do on this channel? If you watch some of my first videos, I was actually doing this show in my school residence. Then afterwards, I moved from my school residence and I started staying with a friend, and I've written a book through this journey where I was staying with a friend and I was finishing off my master's. Just the last year of my master's, I was staying with a friend. And after I stayed with a friend, I started working my full-time, proper job after school, and I moved into a new apartment. And that apartment was a bachelor pad, and I did videos in there. It never really felt like home. It felt like I was in transition and I was going somewhere. So I never really thought of doing what I'm gonna be doing now there, because it just really never felt like home. And in that space, that is where, after I think about a year and a half of working my first job, I knew it was time to leave. And I've done an unemployment series and reasons why I left that job, and finally am now working at the place where I'm working right now. So you can still catch up on that story in the videos on this series above. It's gonna be there or there, but you can learn about that story more from that series. So I quit my job, and I didn't have a job when I quit my job, and of course I didn't tell my mother. Who tells their mother they quit their job without another job? You don't apply to be put in the naughty corner. You don't apply to get your mom to sit you down and tell you, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Kas wakutopenga? Wakutorwara? Ai waka wakutorwara shi. And for those who are not sure now, that basically means, are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? You're actually crazy right now. You're telling me you're crazy. Should I take you to the hospital? And so what I thought was going to be a month or two of me being unemployed ended up being 6 months of being unemployed. And I talk extensively about how through that season I learned how to get freelance work and how to pay the rent and how to make life happen without an 8 to 5. You can connect with that in the series above. Something powerful happened though while I was in this incredibly interesting space where the place where I was staying ended up being a little bit overpriced. Well, not a little bit overpriced. It was a whole lot overpriced and I couldn't afford it any longer. And I had to give that place up so I could live in a space that was probably half the price of what I was paying for my place then. It was a completely different environment altogether, a new place, and this place was a couple of minutes away from one of my freelance gigs, so I was cutting down not only on rental cost, but I was also cutting down on transportation cost. And it was just such an interesting season where here I was thinking I was building, and I don't know if you've ever been in a season in your journey in life where you just felt like, oh my gosh, there we go again, another valley. We just on another valley, and it was excruciatingly eye-opening. And it was eye-opening to me about me. It's weird. It's so weird. Here's what I found out while I was in that season, and it's so interesting and fascinating. I began to learn that I was more than a job. I began to learn that my value was not connected to the job that I was in, the salary that I was earning, the suburb I was living in. I began to realize that my value and my worth were connected to who I was and what space I held in God's heart. I get a little emotional talking about this, but I'm not gonna cry. I won't cry. I won't cry. I learned so much about life, and I learned so much about happiness, what it truly means to be happy outside of possessions. You are not any of these things, but you are a chosen child of God, adopted into my family and loved regardless of what you own, where you're at in life, or what people perceive you to be. So a very funny story about this season is that I have a really good friend of mine, the friend who I was living with that other time. She drives over to my place, and this is the first time that she's coming to see me at my place, and she pulls up. Then she's like, hey Nels, how you doing? And I'm like, hi, so this is my place. And somewhere along that conversation, because she's extremely entrepreneurial, she just looks at my place and she's like, wow, these people are really, really clever. This is a garage, right? And she just she just casually talks about the fact that I'm living in a garage. And I had never, I lied to you not, I had never noticed that well, they called it a bachelor's pad, because you know, you gotta sell it, baby. You gotta sell that thing. You gotta sell it. You gotta make sure somebody is in that thing, living in it. So they called it a bachelor's pad, and I had never recognized, it had never clicked in my head that I was living in a garage that had been converted into a bachelor's pad. So I was technically living in a garage for 6 months. It was more than 6 months. It could have been, I think it was a little bit more than 6 months. I was living in a garage, and God had shielded me from even noticing that I was living in a garage. And it only dawned on me on that day. And she's gonna watch this video, and she's not gonna know it, but she's the very first person who opened up my eyes to the fact that I had been living in a garage all this time. So I remember just when she left, sitting in that place with a new sense of awareness. It had never dawned on me how low God had taken me before this new season, which I'm currently living in right now. I was living in a garage. I was unemployed. I was barely making it to paying off my rentals. I couldn't reach out to my family because I'm a grown woman. People my age have life all together, and I don't know if you're like me, and I struggle to ask for help. I struggled to ask for help. For the longest time, my parents did not know that I had quit my job without another job, because you better not tell my mother you quit your job without another job, darling. But after that season, I finally got a job. It is a permanent job. It is something that I had been praying for. I love what I do. And I'm at a place in life where I don't hold on to things very, very tightly, because I know God is able to give and God is able to take away. according to what he wants to work in your character and the space and the season which he has you in. So it's almost like I'm in this new apartment and I absolutely love it, but I also constantly give it back to God on a daily basis. I'm like, God, naked I came onto this earth, naked I will go back. So I enjoy this space, but Lord, at any point in time, if you feel that it's time to move on, I am not holding too tightly. I am totally giving it back to you as you have given it back to me. And I'm grateful for the space where I'm at right now. And it's a space which I'm going to be showing you more, because I want us to go on a bit of a journey together. And if you love this journey, I need you to consistently watch the type of videos that I'm going to start making, and consistently like them, consistently engage with the content, because that's the only way I will know if people on this channel love to consume that type of content. So let's quickly talk about that, because that's actually one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about in this video. So since this is somewhat of a story time type of a video, a little bit of history. So I come from a family where my dad is in finance, and he has always worked in finance all his life. So he's the professional. And then my mom is somewhat of an entrepreneur, and for the longest time she's done a number of different businesses, but the one that actually stuck was that she's an interior designer. So she's done some houses for some big people in Harare, Zimbabwe. She's gone and like furnished like some big people's farmhouses. You know, she sorted out their decor, and this has always been her business, and she's always been very passionate about just making sure that she created these amazing spaces for people, and places where they could really feel comfortable in, that they could share life with their families. And I think the seed was planted in me as well from a very young age. And I think that's, from my mom's side, that's where I get the creative portion of who I am, because I am part my dad and I'm part my mom. I'm the professional who also at the end of a normal 8 to 5 day goes home and creates house of hosting hidden planners and writes books and does e-courses. You know, that portion of my side comes from my mom. So that seed was planted in me from a very young age, and I've always wanted to decor my house, and I've always wanted to share that journey. But because of the whole journey that I've just shared with you right now, all these different places where I've been in, I've never really been comfortable to do that and to be able to share that space with you. And finally, this is a place where I feel I can actually start doing those type of videos on this channel. So I'm going to be doing somewhat of interior deco kind of videos. I'm going to be taking you through the journey of furnishing and making my house as comfortable as I possibly can. And I want you to be a part of it, because you're also going to learn a number of things as well. So these videos are going to be specifically for women who are just new professionals who now finally have enough money to create a space that they truly love. And this could be a single woman or somebody that has just recently gotten married, and you're trying to create a place for yourself and your husband. I'm going to be giving tips, tools, hacks, and just reviews of different products, of things that you can use to put some order and structure into your space. And I know that there is an audience for this type of content, and if you're that type of woman that I'm going to be speaking to, I want you to not only support those videos, but I want you to share it with other young women as well who are starting to build their lives with regards to the places where they're staying. So not only encourage me, but just share the videos as well, so that we create a tribe of people who are just consuming that content together. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, just say, "Mouse, it makes sense." I'm not really good with these story time videos. And the funny thing is that I actually wanted to make this video because I have already created a couple of videos already. I was so excited. I took you guys on a journey to buying a couple of things, and I've already edited that vlog and it's ready to upload, and I'm about to upload it, and I'm like, These people don't even know what you're doing. Fill them in, let them know what you're about to do. So that's why this video is up today. This video is getting you ready for some content that's going to be coming, and I know this video has been incredibly long, but I wanted to have a chit chat with you on a chilled note and just let you in on what we're going to be doing on this channel. And I am hoping that you go on this journey with me. I promise you, if you love to create an atmosphere in your home that you love, and you're constantly looking to improving small things in your personal space that make it a more efficient space and a place that really, really brings you happiness, you're gonna love these videos. And it also gives you an opportunity to sneak peek into my personal space, and I think that's a little fun. I love those type of videos on other people's channels. So thank you so much once again for being a part of this journey with me. I am deeply grateful for you always coming through and watching these videos. And let's go on this journey together. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so that you are notified every single time I post a video. In fact, you actually get notified if you press that bell. Listen, if you're subscribed and you haven't pressed that little bell right there, I'm gonna wait for you right now. Yeah, you can go press it. Just press it, because you need a notification every single time I post a video, darling. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for you, actually. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. No, I'm not going anywhere. You're gonna press that button, darling. Like this video if you have not done so already. See you in my next video. I'm praying for you. I love you, and see you soon.